Hello and welcome to another episode of Live Feed with your host, Richard Santiago. Live Feed is brought to you by Traveling Tech Teacher. For all your digital resources, check out travelingtechteacher.com. Also brought to you by thebullyexposed.com, a 501c3 nonprofit organization that reminds you to check out their YouTube channel at Nonfiction Filmmaker. Today we are going to talk about the top 10 most offensive shows in TV history. Now, this is not our list of shows, guys. We came across an article and we apologize to the creator of the article. We don't know where we found it. It's been months since we decided we were going to talk about this episode. And since then, we have lost the article. And so we apologize. But we're definitely going to go through each and every one. The list is very interesting, in my opinion. So let's get right to it. With number 10 of the most offensive TV shows in TV history is Kid Nation. Let's check it out.
Imagine a world with no adults. Just 40 kids with a chance to build their own society.
Our work is cut out for us.
Welcome to Kid Nation.
No one here knows how to cook. I'm a beauty queen. I don't do dishes.
The only show where kids will do things all on their own. A TV event unlike anything you've ever seen.
It's dusty. We're dirty. I'm just gonna have to keep pushing.
We can do it.
This is our world.
Kid Nation coming this fall to CBS.
Well, I think the number one reason this show was considered to be offensive to people is because kids cannot be working 12, 13-hour days. And according to information that I found, the kids were working long hours. Some of the kids injured themselves and held the TV station accountable for that. So that's very good. But as far as I can see, this is the only thing that's offensive about it is the kids working long hours. But, you know, guys, you got to understand this. A lot of people don't believe this. A lot of people do believe it. But reality TV is not really reality. It's not like they stick a bunch of kids in a room and just shoot. No, they tell them what to say. They tell them what to do. They do all that kind of stuff. Because you got to think about it. When you want a show, you want controversy, right? You want a villain, antagonist, and you want a hero, the protagonist. And you're never going to know who you got that. So you got to structure everything where you're the bad guy, this is what you're going to do, and you're the good guy. I think this show, what they should have done was take the kids and treat it like any other TV show and give them a certain amount of hours to work, and through the magic of movies, make it seem like they've been there for 15, 20 hours cooking and cleaning and fending for themselves. But it's basically, I don't know if I said this, but it's basically a show where they stick kids in this rural area of Arizona, I think it was, and they ask them to just fend for themselves and live among themselves. You know, I believe, like I said, I believe it's offensive because people felt that these kids, or know for a fact that these kids were working 12 hours and burning themselves and hurting themselves and weren't being taken care of. You can't do that. You have to take care of the people. If someone gets hurt, you gotta really take care of them and really go above and beyond to make sure they're okay. So I think that this show, I think the premise is okay, and I think it can work if they just structure it like they do any movie. Call it reality TV if you want, but then structure it like any reality movie, where if a kid is working for 13 hours, then you use the magic of TV to make it look like he's been there for 13 hours. And that'll be okay.
You know, if the makeup didn't work, I don't think the show would work.
So number 9 in our countdown of the most offensive shows in TV history is going to go to a show called Black White. That's the only thing I can find about it, so I believe that's what it's called. Let's check it out.
Coming together, one black, one white, and we swap races.
My family, the black family, becomes white, and we go out and explore what life would be as a white person. And the white family, you know, they use makeup and turn them into black, and they go out and explore what it's like to be black.
An experiment of checking out what it's like to be inside someone else's skin.
This show goes where no other show has gone before.
You're beautiful.
Oh my God.
You know, if the makeup didn't work, you know, I don't think the show would work.
All right, so that's it. Wow. Okay. Well, I think that I understood the good that they were trying to do in this show. I think that a lot of people of non-color need to really go out and experience the heartache that Black America has to go through, even Hispanic America, even Chinese and Asian America. I think they really need to see this. I guess wearing blackface as a way to do it is offensive, so I get that. But I definitely, again, call me crazy, but I like the premise of, hey, go out there and see what it's like. Because there's a lot of people that don't think that Asian people or that women or people that are, you know, minorities or different don't experience the things that they hear people complain about, and that's not true. They do experience it a great deal. They do. And it's offensive, yes, it goes under the list of most offensive shows for sure. I guess there's no real way to show non-colored Americans what Asians and people of color have to go through. Let's go on to number 8. Number 8, I was really shocked about this one. It's Fear Factor. The only thing really offensive about Fear Factor is that Joe Rogan is the host. But let's take a look at it anyway. Again, I don't know what's offensive of that. Maybe they did some things. I was not an avid watcher of Fear Factor. I watched it a few times. Every time I watched it, it was mostly bugs and messing with people in the dark and stuff like that. But as you've seen on the clip, there's a lot of things that they made them do that has to do with heights and really some fearful stuff that I gotta admit I wouldn't do to be on a TV show. But when it comes to the article on this one, I disagree. I disagree on this one. I don't think it's offensive, other than Joe Rogan, like I said. I don't think it's very offensive unless they did a few things that I don't know about. Because like I said, I'm not an avid watcher of the show. Okay, let's move on to number 7. Number 7 for me, I understand it. You know, I understand why they chose it, but I disagree. So let's move on to number 7. Let's check it out. Now, I didn't tell you what it was because I think the theme song speaks for itself, right? South Park, a show created by Trey Parker and Matt Stone. I think everybody, whether you love the show or not, has heard of it. It's been on for like 25 years. Let me correct that. It's been on for 24 years. 24 seasons, I should say. I like it. Sometimes there's a great message behind every show. Sometimes they use toilet humor to get to that message, but I think it's very creative. Their thinking is like way different than anyone else, and I think because of that, the show is amazing. As far as being offensive, to me, when you create a show and you're out to offend people, tell your story, you know, you offend people, but then you give your message. I think you have to do it a certain way. Some of the shows on our list, you're going to see don't do it the right way. Like the kids one. Like I said, it's a great premise. But if you got kids working 14 hours a day and they're injured and you're not taking care of them, that's not good. Matt Stone and Trey Parker found the right way to be offensive, to be gross, but then tie it up together in a good bow where you learn a lesson and you move on. That's my opinion. Always have been a fan of it. I will admit, I learned about it like almost in the beginning of the second season. So, which was good because then I had a whole season to catch up on. And so I just think they do it right. They're out to offend you. They're out to be entertaining, and they are very entertaining. And they're out to tell you and teach you a lesson. And they do all that the right way, I think. You know, the only people that get offended to me are the people that they're targeting. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, if you're a knucklehead and you put yourself out there to be made fun of, people are going to do it. And so I think they do it the right way. All right, let's move on to number 6. Heil, honey, I'm home.
Heil, honey.
Heil, honey.
Heil, honey.
Heil, honey.
Heil, honey.
Hello.
I'm home. Heil, honey.
Heil, honey.
Smile, honey. Because I'm home. Gee, it's great to be Top Gun, but it's nothing like the fun that I get when I say Heil, honey, I am home. Heil, honey.
Heil, honey.
Smile, honey. Gee, it's great to be back. Heil, honey, I'm home.
It's a 1990s situational comedy constructed around the life of Hitler. I watched one episode. I didn't really find it offensive other than, you know, you're giving praise to probably one of the worst men that ever walked the planet. I mean, but we have to laugh at negative things. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, some people find that very offensive, or something, people probably going to write to me and say, if you lost people in the Holocaust, you wouldn't find that funny. I think it's okay to exploit and make fun of how crazy some people might have been or might have thought at a certain time. Just have to do it at the right time. All right, guys, let's move on to number 5, Generation KKK. Let's check out the video.
TV channel A&E has walked away from airing a documentary on the Ku Klux Klan. The documentary received criticism from the start. Critics accused A&E of normalizing racism and hate in America. The network said the film was meant to show the struggles of leaving a hate group like the Klan. However, it did change the name from Generation KKK to Escaping the KKK. But when A&E found out third-party producers were giving cash payments to people in the film, the company drew a line and decided not to air the project. In a statement, the network claimed the payments were nominal, but went against the promise it made that no money would go to the hate group. Also in the statement, A&E further defended the purpose of the documentary to expose issues of hate in America. The channel said it will continue to work with the civil rights community to combat hate through serious dialogue, education, and outreach.
This one is definitely very offensive. You can tell that these people did create the movie or the documentary to glorify the KKK. And we already know that there's a movie called, in 1920, I believe the movie was created, called Birth of a Nation, that already does that. And that should have never been created. So this one definitely should have not been created. And kudos to A&E for finding it. I mean, really doing their research and finding what these people were really trying to do and never airing it. I tried desperately to find a piece of it so I can show you guys, but unfortunately was unsuccessful, which I guess is a good thing, right? The only thing I could find was this news report by Newsy. Thank you, Newsy, for creating it. All too often, people try to mask their true intentions in films. And we should not use our art to generalize and make hate a norm. And that's terrible that they did it, and good thing that they found out. And they changed their name, like he said, to Escaping KKK, but a little too late by then, right? I mean, your true intentions were discovered, and thank God for that. So kudos again to A&E. But when it comes to paying people for films, I have this problem as well. I sometimes say if you're creating a documentary, you're creating this documentary to make a change in society, and that the people should not be paid, because and then they can say, well, the only reason why they said these things was because you pay them. But if you don't pay someone to be on a film, they're most likely not going to do it, because some people are too busy. You know, very rarely can you find someone that's very successful and that's like the top of his field. And that's the people you want to talk to, right? The people on the top of their field who are willing to come on your documentary or come on and allow you to film them for free. I understand the part. I'm not saying that they did it right in this film, but I'm saying that I understand the part of having to pay characters, because that's what they're called in documentaries, characters, cast. I understand having to pay them. All right, let's move on to number 4, Man versus Beast. I am for the rights of animals. I think animals are exploited too much for our entertainment. So I do see how this is offensive. Let's watch the video.
On your mark, get set. And it's on, folks. It's a very close start. The chimpanzee is doing fantastic. Scott Halverson gets to the rope first. He's almost to the top, but the chimp is super strong, and it looks like he's catching up. The chimp is doing amazing, but he's behind. Scott is at the cargo net first. The chimp is just hitting the cargo net now. He is over the top. Scott Halverson is doing an amazing job. He's just incredible. He's on the rope swing, he's across, and now the chimpanzee...
The animal's not really injured, but they are exploiting its strength for that. So yeah, I could see how this can be offensive. All time, I think there's a lot more, like the Little Rascals and some others, but yeah, it's up there. All right, let's move on to number 3, All My Baby Mamas. Let's check out the video.
So you guys, he might be known as a rapper, but here in Atlanta, he's known for having 11 kids and 10 baby mamas. Gangsta. My name is Ikria. They say I'm the first lady. I'm the baby mama with the most power because I control Shawty's finances. Everybody good? Anybody need anything else? Amanda, she's the jealous baby mama.
Yeah, whatever, that's your daddy, but I'm your mama. You better listen.
That's proof that brothers cannot have a harem, that's for sure. The way I look at it, if you want to do a show based on some of the mistakes you made in life, to me, it's a huge mistake to have, 10 children and, 12 different, ladies. From that, I think that's horrible for many reasons. But if you made that mistake and you want to create a show about it, as long as I think it's okay as long as you're talking about the negative of this and why people should not go around, because everyone has a friend like that, right? I got a friend like that. He's got, I think 9 children and 27 different baby mamas. Don't you do the math? I don't know how that works out, but we all have these types of friends. And I think that if you're creating a show that, almost the reason for storytelling, which is what TV is, right, is to teach people a lesson. Teach. It's to teach, right? So if you're creating a show like this and you're telling people You know, you're ending the show with this is why you shouldn't do this. You know, it's important for the family structure, whatever you may believe. I don't see how it's offensive, unless they did something again that degrades women, or that degrades children, or that degrades, you know, like Brady Bunch type families. Unless they offended those people or did something offensive, I really don't see why this one is on the list of all-time offensive films, TV shows. But like I said, unless they did any of the things that I mentioned before. So let's go to the next video. All right, let's move on to number 2. Homeboys in Outer Space. I don't know why this one's on the list, but let's check out the opening.
This is how it all began, the true story of two good friends. Since the age of 5, could spin their dream to run a starship as a team. When everything was going cool, till a minor mishap in flight school. The body ship went very far, and now they're having fun. As homeboys in outer space, mercenary brothers, down for one another. There's no mission that's too tall, ain't no problem they can't solve. So come aboard this space too deep in the 23rd century. Homeboys in outer space, homeboys, yeah.
Again, like I said, what's offensive about 2 African American kids talking about outer space, living in outer space? I think it's more offensive that they picked this to be offensive. You know, I think that's what we have here. This is okay. I think there's nothing wrong with that. And again, without able to see an episode, we don't know if maybe they did something offensive during the show. In the opening show, you can see their hubcaps on the spaceship. I mean, if they did things like that pointed out our stereotypes, the African American stereotypes throughout the show, then yes, I can see why this is offensive. The opening part, yes, I could see car bouncing up and down. I could see where some people might find the opening offensive, but as long as they didn't carry that in their show, the show should just be about 2 African American kids exploring in outer space and teaching, you know, the African American community or the white community. It doesn't have to be just the African American community. Teaching its viewers, whatever they may be, whatever color they may be, about space and why this happens in space and why that happens in space. Then I see nothing wrong with this show. So let's move on to number 1. And I want to remind you guys that this top 10 list of most offensive shows on TV is brought to you by Traveling Tech Teacher and thebullyexposed.com. We'll remind you to check out their YouTube channel at Nonfiction Filmmaker. Check it out right now. You might be watching this on YouTube, so go ahead and smash that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the bell notification so you're notified every time we put a show up on this channel. So let's move on. Number 1. Number 1, most offensive show on TV is The Melting Pot. The Melting Pot is a British television situational comedy created by Spike Mulligan, and it was written by Spike and his friend Neil Shan. The pilot episode broadcasted on BBC on June 1976. They created a full episode, but it never aired. And based on what you can see on the screen, you can probably figure out why it didn't air. Now, this guy in brown face, as they calling it, is Spike Mulligan. Apparently, he created several shows where he created this character, this Pakistani character, and he loved to do him, and he tried to do him on different shows, and I guess it was deemed offensive, and a lot of it never aired. I did find one episode. I was unable to download it to show to you guys. But I have to admit, in that episode, his face is not as brown as it is here. Maybe that's why he was able to air that one. His face was just slight brown. But here's the thing with this show, Spike. If you create a character, you're not of that race. Find someone from that race to play the part. Maybe if he had done that, he would have got this show aired. And maybe it's a good thing that it didn't air. But I'm just saying, I think all too often what happens is people create these characters. They're very offensive, so to me, if you create a character and you show his negative side, you should always show his positive side. So if you load the show with only stereotypes about a particular race, then of course that show is going to be deemed offensive. To me, it's okay to show a little bit because we all have stereotypes. I don't care what race you are, what color you are. We all have stereotypes, unfortunately, because there's ignorant people in every race. So if you exploit that and then sprinkle a little bit of the good side, right? Because everybody has good and bad on every side. Every race has good things that they do and negative things that they do. And all too often what happens is a lot of these racist people, I believe they are racist people, just exploit the negative, and then they give these Pakistanis or these minority groups these low-paying jobs or low jobs that nobody wants to do. He's a bathroom attendant, or he's just, make them doctors, make them politicians, make them whatever you want. Exploit the things that you find funny about what the race does and then show them in a good light. And I think if you do that, maybe you will, but you're most likely not going to have a problem with your show being on a list of the top 10 most racist shows in America. And, kudos to England, because we all know now it's official. It's something that we always knew, but we could never prove. But now it's official. The king and the queen, or the queen at least, is a little bit racist. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. So kudos to them to find that, this is a little racist. Even though the queen is racist and probably would have enjoyed a show like this, it's good to know that the people of England are like, no, this ain't gonna fly, and good for them. So again, if you're a person that created a character that's not of your race, get a person from that race to play the part. It's always throughout history. Bob Hope did it also. I think it was Breakfast at Tiffany's. Maybe I'm wrong, but where he plays an Asian Chinese guy, I believe, and the Chinese guy is played by Bob Hope. No, why don't you get a Chinese person to play that part? And again, show the negative, funny side of the race, and then show the good, because everyone, has good and bad. Not every individual, but I mean every race has good and bad. That's the best way, I think, to do it. And then that, for that way, you're going to still offend people, of course. It's always going to be people like that. But I think a majority of the people you would not offend, because you created an even balance of everything. And never play the part. Never put brown face. Never put black face. Never put yellow face. Never put red face. Whatever it is. Give the part to the people that you are telling the story about. I think that's the worst thing you can do, is tell a story about a woman, right? And the part being played by the woman is a man in drag. Never works. I'm sorry. And it's very offensive. So that's going to do it for me on this episode of Live Feed with your host, Richard Santiago. I hope you learned something from that. Remember that Live Feed is brought to you by Traveling Tech Teacher. For your digital resources, check out travelingtechteacher.com. Also brought to you by thebullyexposed.com, a 501c3 nonprofit organization geared at helping survivors of bullying. And they want to remind you to check out their YouTube channel at fiction filmmaker. You might be watching this right now. So smash that subscribe button, smash the bell. That way you're notified every time that a new video is put up on our channel. Remember, anyone can wear the crown. Anyone can be a hero. Be kind to yourself and have a great day. Bye now.